And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 Grand Finals presented by IBM. I'm Mitch Leslie here with Matthew Morello. And Matt, we've had a chance to see our top four teams strut their stuff a little bit, show what they're made of, but now the fun and games is really over. In this next match, one of our teams will be exiting the tournament.
Yeah, and both of these teams have had, well, it's interesting because Seoul comes in as a team where we looked at them throughout the season and they're all over the place, up and down. Philly's been so consistent. But it seems like they've almost changed places here in the first round, where Seoul put up a really good fight against a shot.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a look at the bracket here now, and Philadelphia, look, I mean, they're going to be up against it here in their match, but the San Francisco Shock advance, and I mean, waiting for either of our two next teams on the other side of the match will be the Shanghai Dragons, but that is a complete different story. Philadelphia Fusion and the Seoul Dynasty going head-to-head, where Philadelphia looked pretty lackluster yesterday in their matches. The Seoul Dynasty really tested the San Francisco Shock. Quite an adequate warm-up game for San Francisco now, who's had to run the gauntlet of two of these APAC teams. But they look very good, Matt. You know, Fitz looks very strong in that Ashe position. Prophet flex between a Tracer and the Hanzo. We saw that classic Ana inclusion as well instead of the Zen. In general, Seoul looked very frightening.
They looked better in the second half. The first half was not great for the Seoul Dynasty. They looked like a completely different team in the second half. That's the team you need to see today here against the Philadelphia Fusion. You know, look, we all know what Prophet can do in terms of, you know, his DPS, especially in the playoffs. Seeing him come up big here would be huge for the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, Gesture was pretty nutty on the Roadhog at points in that series, but Fitz is a player that was highlighted multiple times in their match yesterday for good reason. He'll be going head-to-head with Hisu, who we'll get onto a little bit later on, and we're seeing a little bit more Widowmaker from Hisu. Fitz still playing a lot of the Ashe. This is a Widow head-to-head, in which Hisu generally boasts some stronger stats, but Philly's compositions have been a little bit odd, some reliance on Sombra and Reaper, and a lot of Widow from Hisu.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like they have a great grasp, or maybe they don't feel confident in running what we see a lot of the teams run in terms of the Widowmaker. If you did see the Widowmaker for Philly, you would have expected it to be Carpe, but they want to put him on the Hanzo. It's something Philadelphia has kind of said for a long time. They believe that Carpe's Hanzo is his best or one of his best heroes. You also like Carpe on the Tracer. He had a really good map #1 yesterday against the Dragons. But still, this feels like a matchup, Mitch, where neither team really feels that great about their Widowmaker player. They're just kind of like doing it because it seems to be working for all the other teams still in. Maybe, I think though, if you see the Hisu Fitz battle, you have to feel much better about Fitz with the way we saw Hisu play the other day.
I mean, Philadelphia don't feel good, maybe not only for the Widow play, but also their match yesterday. Going 3-0 down to the Shanghai Dragons. Now look, it's reasonable to expect them to maybe come off second best in a matchup like that, but I'm certain players, coaching staff, fans, I can vouch for that one, would be furious about such a lackluster performance from the Fusion, and they have one day to fix such a deficit against another quality team, another team that they have limited experience going up against this season.
There's a difference between like a loss in terms of like kind of how you quantify it. They were not close against the Shanghai Dragons. That was a series that was not all that competitive, to be honest. So, and this is a Philly team that I actually felt really good about coming into the playoffs. I thought the Philadelphia Fusion had a really good chance to kind of go deep and potentially win. That's not what we saw yesterday from Philly. I would be shocked if they don't come and bounce back with a better performance today.
I mean, we're talking about a team with the quality and caliber to beat the San Francisco Shock and be dominant consistently in their own region, but their opponents are no slouches either, with an up-and-down season, but now fighting for the right to go up against Shanghai once more. It is the Seoul Dynasty.
Now, this is a team that if you're a fan of them through the regular season, the playoffs, they kind of have given you so many heart attacks. You've just been kind of wondering what's going on with them the entire year. Some weeks they look like they could be the best team in the region. Other weeks it's like, are you guys even there? No, I think the extended one, I think them already kind of playing a little bit of this type of style in the playoffs to get to this point and also kind of not having to make many adjustments, obviously, after that in terms of like the meta, I think definitely pays off for this team. I think that's why they've looked as good as they've looked thus far, although be it is one match, may give them a slight edge against Philly.
So many good things to say about the Seoul roster. We'll have plenty of time to talk about them now because arguably the underdog of this entire dog and pony show, a team with a lot to show after a very disappointing showing against the Dragons yesterday, it is the Philadelphia Fusion.
And I know how good of a team the Shanghai Dragons is, right? I know we've had a chance to cast some of the APAC games. We just saw how good they played against the San Francisco Shock, albeit in a loss. But if you're the Philadelphia Fusion and you tried out a lineup with Carpe, Sato, Fury, Funny Astro, Alarm, Hisu, you should not be getting 3-0'd by anybody. Nope. You should be able to get a map or at least get close in some of those games. Losing in the way they did, I think, definitely has to light a bit of a fire underneath them coming in this match today.
For the Philadelphia Fusion, Matt, it doesn't really get any better than this. This is the best look that we've ever seen from them. They've actually had a consistent winning season, which has been something that they've struggled to achieve in the past. Now is the time to turn up here in the Grand Finals. Now is the time to show they've got what it takes to move on to face the Dragons.
Well, this is a team that, Season 1, they make the finals. They lose to, Gesture Profit, Bidoshin, and the London Spitfire. Season 2 is not the best for the Philly Fusion. They retooled this roster in a major way. Fury, Funny Astro, Alarm, Hisu, Ivy, all additions this season. I don't believe you make those type of moves and 4th place is something you feel great about. Because those are the players you added are like primetime players, right? You are adding starters across the board, depth to the roster in which you already had some good pieces. This is a really important match for the Philadelphia Fusion overall as a franchise, I believe.
Carpe and Hisu were said yesterday, Carpe, his favorite or best hero might be the Hanzo. Hisu's been taking his Widow duty so Carpe could run the Tracer. Neither of them were able to fire up at the same time, but for the Seoul Dynasty, we'll have Marvel, of course, on his vaunted Wrecking Ball pick. It will be the Ana inclusion, which will contrast with the Zenyatta from Philly. This is a regional difference between these compositions. Let's see if Creative can pressure down this tank line as Fury comes in on the Diva map.
Yeah, and really the one that needs to be careful is Sato. Sato's trying to go in, create space on this Wrecking Ball. If he gets hacked, Seoul doesn't really need to play that aggro, right? They can play a little bit further back as Hisu will open up with the first pick here on a Prophet. If they can get a hack onto Sato, just take him out quickly, you can kind of deathball with the Roadhog onto the point.
And there it is, Carpe punished as the newly returned to life. Prophet's able to find a Dynamite kill and he's able to peek out a little further now. Hisu's forced off that line of sight, but was able to find the kill on Gesture with the help of the Discord Orb, but he finds yet another one. Hisu needs to be finding these so fast, so good. A DPS for Seoul Dynasty down, and Alarm is going to go for perhaps not overly necessary transcendence, but we take those.
I mean, you get the Transcendence that fast, you get in trouble. I mean, the point's not even taken yet. You may as well use it to keep yourself alive. As Billy, get control of the point. See where Marvel decides to go here. Just trying to get into the back line here. As you see, they're trying to get onto Alarm.
Look at that Discord Orb. Immediately, Marvel goes down to half HP, but Carpe gets picked off early once more. It'll again have to be Hisu to step up. Defense Matrix used sparingly by Fury, but it was enough to keep Sato alive a little longer. A window there for Fitz to be traded out, but Marvel is deep in enemy territory and threatening to delve even deeper. A pile driver on Alarm would surely seal the deal, and that's what he's looking for with the minefield. And then saunters back to the point as Seoul are in control.
Yes, it'll be a Valkyrie from Funny Astro as Alarm gets taken out by Prophet's Bob. So he sends the bomb straight through the choke. It looked like they were trying to wait the mines out. They'll keep everybody topped up with a Valkyrie, and it does not work out for Philly. They end up using Valkyrie. They get nothing with it. They get a Res on Alarm. He dies right away to a Bob. Now Seoul Dynasty can accrue some percentage on the point. Probably get up to about 45-50% here. So Fitz can start to farm up this EMP.
The silver lining for Alarm is that he wouldn't have been able to prevent those 2 kills from Marvel with the Transcendence that he more frivolously used on that first fight. But he has it back once more. will need to be careful, and so will the rest of his teammates of Creative's Biotic Grenade. Fury will be on the lookout. Again, Carpe goes down, man. He has 0 final blows, 0 eliminations so far in this round. He's found himself 3 deaths. Not the start that Philly are looking for from their star player.
He's gotten picked off early in all of the 3 fights. Prophet took him out with a dynamite in 1. Gesture ends up getting a nano boost, takes him out in another fight. Then right here, you saw Prophet take him out yet again. So early on, Carpe not able to get much on the Tracer.
Here's the Transcendence in play now. Fury and Carpe are hacked, but Carpe's able to mask inside those healing rays. Sada, they're not so lucky. Whole Hog's going to force him on away, but it's going to be traded out. Carpe's able to get him with a pulse bomb on Gesture. 1 for 1. Both teams down their main tank. And here comes a Valkyrie pop from Funny Astro as Carpe is still looking for more action. He's found his first kill. Alarm. Okay, fortunately Alarm doesn't get caught inside that minefield for him. But oh my! Oh. There's some better with that shot, and Prophet puts Carpe to bed.
And you see the pressure that they constantly try and put on Alarm, because what this composition for Philadelphia Fusion needs is the damage from Alarm with a Discord and then Carpe there to follow it up. Without both of them in play, it's a rather easy comp for the Seoul Dynasty to play around.
Hisu sitting back. Bob's already been deployed over towards the point now. 88 to 44% as Philly were able to get back in control. The hack on Sato punishes him so hard. The follow-up hook on Alarm is perfect. Gesture finds a quick double now. Philly still remain in control and will look to stall for as long as they possibly can, but Seoul are finding the connections. Gesture and Prophet, 6 final blows, 6 for Marvel as well.
And this is perfect for Seoul Dynasty, and if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan, this is like the ideal start to the series you would have liked to see, because this is the Seoul Dynasty playing what they've been playing over the last, let's say, month, really, including the playoffs, and playing it well, and the Philadelphia Fusion refusing to match in terms of the Roadhog right now. So it's really good if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan.
Sato down, and yes, it looks like the Dynasty are in control. Fitz even has the EMP to use, and Fury gets caught at the worst possible moment. Carpe tries to walk up onto the point, but he can't recall, and he's hit with a Biotic Grenade to boot. The Seoul Dynasty look a little bit cleaner behind the ears in that first round, despite a slow start, and they are handling Carpe quite well.
So what I think you can do if you are the Philly Fusion, you know, you really haven't played any Sombra with the Ashe, but maybe you have to kind of change it up here. Maybe play the Ashe full time.
Fans, we've got a big surprise for you, by the way. Coke Energy is rewarding all viewers with another bonus hour by boosting you with 3 times Overwatch League tokens when you watch on OverwatchLeague.com and the Overwatch League app. Now you can load up and get a new All-Star skin even faster. Coke Energy comes in 4 delicious flavors. Coke Energy, 0 sugar, cherry, and cherry 0 sugar. There's about the same amount of caffeine in that can than a 12-ounce cup of drip coffee. And speaking of drip, we're back here in this round number 2. Gesture probably has all 10 of his rings on right now, and they're clinking together as he hits those keys.
I was going to say, according to Brian, Gesture is the drip king.
He is. He
king
actually
of the
is.
Drip.
He turns up with like a $500 Balenciaga t-shirt that's mad oversized. He's got rings on every finger. There's no stealth about the guy, you know?
No, not at all. He's just trying to take this angle across the stairs. See, Seoul's not really, they're not going to play the Sombra here, even though the Wrecking Ball will come out again for the Philly Fusion. They're going to play the double hit scan, and the double hit scan's pretty effective here, Mitch. These long lines of sight across the point, a real good opportunity for Ashe and Widow to pop off.
Already Seoul able to take the point early. Philly probably pretty unhappy about that. I mean, a token resistance, but giving over that first point now means that they have to win a clean fight. This sort of drip and drab level resistance is only going to over to Seoul. They need to regroup.
Yeah, no love lost between former teammates right there. Prophet with the tactical crouch on the Fury. I'm surprised we're seeing this look from Philadelphia. Okay, now they switch Carpe on to Ashe. Carpe's Ashe has been really good all season long. Now we'll get to see how this plays in terms of the Wrecking Ball versus Roadhog, and you also have the Zen in the play here for the Philly Fusion.
Gesture. I think Marvel definitely punished badly last round by the Discord Orb. Now is Sigma. Less risky for him. Both Ashes are traded out, and both Ashes are brought back to life. 2 mirror images of each other right now. Prophet's going to send the bomb straight on him, followed up by the Dynamite. This will immediately have to force a retreat from Philly, and this is more capture progress given over.
I didn't really expect teams to play like a composition like this without Roadhog in the mix for like the Philly Fusion. I just struggle to try and figure out where you get value with this Wrecking Ball right now. You're not really kind of causing a lot of disruption in the back line. You're not kind of opening up space for anybody like a Tracer or like a Sombra. You don't have anybody to work with. Yeah. Yeah, you can't really kind of even protect Alarm on the Zen. So I think this is a rather odd composition to put together here early for Philly.
Well,
they're not even really worried about him, right? Like, they're just kind of letting him roll around. Like,
maybe he harasses Fitz, causes him some problems now, but you see Creative is right there. There could be a sleep dart, bionic grenade, and then Sato could be in some real trouble. Sato even is unwilling to commit right now, but he's going to have to go because Marvel on the other side of the map is doing him dirty. Throws up that Gravitic Flux, and Funny Astro was caught. Hyperspheres finished the job. Fury going to go for one of his own for the time being, but Gesture is pushing forward. Discord Orb really hurts, and Alarm takes it down with that headshot. Philadelphia are able to sneak back onto the point in that moment as ultimates are exchanged.
Yeah, they get the point flip here towards the end. We'll see if they're able to hold on to it as Creative will take out Alarm. He'll get taken out by Carpe. It's just kind of, he got stuck at the side of the map. Just had to make any kind of play happen. So what, we'll have a whole hog and a Bob probably most likely here for the Seoul Dynasty. You can send Bob in to kind of contest the point. Maybe try and knock players around and off with that whole hog. Try and take it out of the fusion though. They'll have a Bob of their own from Carpe. So Fitz takes some orbs there from Alarm.
Funny Astro dying during Valkyrie in that previous fight could have hurt the fusion. Fortunately, Alarm, with his damage output, can definitely build back into a position where a Transcendence is on the line. Carpe's only found 2 final blows over the course of this entire map. That's to 11 on the side of Profit.
Gesture on the Roadhog's been more effective in getting into the backline and getting picks than the Wrecking Ball. Just kind of just taking up space, the thread of the hook. See another hook there from Gesture, and he brings in, I believe that was Fury off of the point, which that allows him to take out Sato. It'll be a Transcendence here from Alarm, just trying to keep everybody alive. It does not look good for the fusion though.
Carpe finds an important kill on Creative, but with any follow-up, there might have been something there. Just wasn't the case in the Seoul Dynasty. They make it look pretty darn easy on Busan, and a lot of it, again, could be said, some quiet all-stars on the side of the Philly Fusion. They needed Carpe to step up, and only 3 final blows for the map.
I'm not going to lie, that is almost worst-case scenario for the Philly Fusion in terms of how you start off this series. You did not want to give Seoul Dynasty a ton of confidence. You know, Seoul Dynasty already comes in pretty confident, right? Now, they end up forcing a Game 5 against the Shock. They've seen you already get destroyed by the Shanghai Dragons. Like, you needed to come out and throw the first punch here if you're Philly, and you just kind of got rolled over and beat here by the Seoul Dynasty. So I think you're going to need to see a lot of adjustments for the Philadelphia Fusion going into map number 2.
A lot of questions for the Philadelphia Fusion, one of them being, does Rock Bottom have a basement, or can they clamber out and back into the driver's seat? Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 2 of this elimination final is just around the corner.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Golden Boy back in the spawn room, sharing with you some of the unbelievable opportunities planned for tomorrow when you tune in to the 2020 Grand Finals. First, want to make your way right here in the spawn room? Use the hashtag #CheckMeOWL and OWL2020 to post on our Grand Finals social wall, and maybe, just maybe, we'll read your post on the show. Then, thanks to our friends at Cheez-It Grooves and Pringles Wavy, send a tweet using @OverwatchLeague and one of these Crunch Time Cam hashtags to get instant, real-time photos of the 2 teams in action tweeted right back at you. Remember to keep tweeting throughout the Grand Finals so you can get even more behind-the-scenes pics. And finally, during the match, we literally want to hear you cheer and share with the world your Overwatch League pride. Be a part of the Grand Finals broadcast like never before by going to overwatchleague.com/react and look for the Hear Me Cheer icon. I want to hear you. That's it from me. More from the Overwatch League 2020 Grand Finals coming right up.
Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Profit.
That's wild! How does he get that kill?
I don't know.
Joining me today is Profit from Seoul Dynasty. Profit, thank you so much for joining me here today. Hello.
Hello, I'm Profit. Nice to meet you.
So Profit, of course, inaugural season, 2018 season of Overwatch League. London Spitfire won, and also you were the MVP for the grand finals. How do you feel about that?
뭐 당연한 결과라고 생각하고 받아들였죠. 아 장난이고.
아니야 좋아. 여기서 컷이야. 좋아. 자 넘어갈게요.
망했다.
Did you face any challenges transitioning to Seoul from London?
일단 팀업을 새로 맞추는 게 좀 힘들긴 했었어요. 처음에. 원래 이제 런던이랑 애들이랑 뭐 한 2년 동안 같이 하니까 뭐 말하지 않아도 맞는 그런 팀업이 있었는데 서울은 다 처음 보는 그 선수들이어가지고 팀업 맞추는데 좀 고생을 했죠.
그 팀업을 맞추는 데는 어떻게 맞춰? 선수들은 보통?
그냥 일단 게임을 좀 많이 같이 해봐야 되고 그리고 뭐 생활적인 거에서도 취미가 맞거나 그러면 좀 좋죠.
So, what's the most important skill as a Overwatch League player?
스피드가 중요하죠. 그리고 상대보다 빨리 반응해서 써야 되고 빨리 움직여야죠.
Profit, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your time.
감사합니다.
Alright, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Player Roundtable presented by Xfinity.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 Grand Finals presented by IBM. Already one map down the gurgler for the Philadelphia Fusion. They let that one go begging as the Seoul Dynasty looked very, very sharp on Busan, specifically that second round, Matthew.
Not a lot of positives to talk about there for the Philadelphia Fusion. I thought Gesture, his hog was great. I think there's a lot of times where he goes on these flanks, does not get punished whatsoever. Comes up with some big plays. And then I think the DPS duo of Profit and Fitz definitely delivered there, especially with Carpe and Hisu struggling again in map number 1.
Yeah, Carpe just really wasn't able to make much happen at all in that first round map. It was essentially being forced out. Hisu dominated the kill feed early on, and then we started to see Profit really rise when it came to that second map. We saw a lot of Ashe play, a little bit of Widow mixing in there as well, and Matt, Philly have some substitutions.
Yes, they're going for it with these. So you'll have Ivy come in for Carpe, and then Poco will come in for Sado. This vaguely reminds... So I think this is a change that you needed to make something happen. I don't think that with what we've seen from the lineup that they had in over the series against Shanghai and then over the first map here, you needed to kind of have like a tight rope with them, right? You couldn't kind of give them that long leash to keep playing and not showing results, because this is a you lose, you go home.
What does it mean?
So you needed to make some type of change. I fully expect like this to probably be like more like Roadhog type compositions, right? Maybe you have Poco play the Roadhog, maybe Fury takes up the Roadhog role. Poco could play maybe even like a Hog Zarya, which we haven't seen. What could scare you potentially if you're a Philly Fusion fan is this reminds you of a series that me and you casted in the NA playoffs. I believe it was the Justice against the Paris Eternal. Map number 3 in that series. This is kind of going off the top of my head. But,
yep.
Map number 3 in that series of Sky Industries. Paris did not look good going up against the Roadhog comps. And I believe they ended up trying Sparkle on Tank and playing him on the Zarya and trying to make something happen. You would hope that's not this that early on here for the Philly Fusion. Just kind of kind of throw in something out there that maybe they haven't really tried but could make sense on paper. Philly will be on defense here first, so we can talk a little bit about what they're trying to do. So Fury will play the Roadhog. We've seen him do it in the past. We know how good Fury is on all of the off tanks. Roadhog kind of blurs the line now between off tank and main tank just because
and DPS.
He's so and DPS, yeah, and a healer as well. But Poco will now be playing the Sigma. And then Ivy's going to just take up the role of Hanzo. So nothing different in terms of what you were playing, just different players in those roles. I still think, though, this puts a ton of pressure on Hisu on the Widow.
Of course, just this week, official OWL face coverings for all teams are launched, so you can rep your squad while you stay safe and healthy. Get over to the League shop to pre-order those today. But now it is the Seoul Dynasty starting on the attacking side. Fitz is playing very patiently here, just waiting for Poko to show too much of those big old toes.
So, Seoul Dynasty just coming up, taking space as they push Tisu all the way out here. I mean, he's got to get kind of control of this. So you can't get the Widow on the offense. You can't give them a good sight line, and you'll lose Poko straight away. I believe that's a Roadhog hook from Gesture, and then headshot from Fitz takes him out.
Oh, Gesture's
look at where
getting
Tisu
close.
is though, Mitch. He has no sightline over the point. Just the presence of the Hog, I guess, just knocked him down to the low ground, all the way in the back of his choke. I mean, the Widow on defense needs to hold that position. You can't allow the opposing Widow to get so much control over the point because your team can never push back through this choke. Like, if the Widow controls the choke and they're able to just pop shots, especially with a Hanzo player like Prophet thrown into the mix, you know, putting even more damage down, you're not going to be able to get much done.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing premeditated about that body grenade from Creative there. Philly all pushed in towards that left side room to make something happen. Creative sees it. It's the fattest biotic grenade he could ask for in this situation, already being down a player as Philly, so no way they were recovering from that one. Healing denied. Fury hooked into the Dragon, starting to get away as Prophet doubles down, and Gesture now can chase Poko all the way.
Look, this looks like a series that's kind of getting out of hand, right? Philly needs somebody to make a play.
Absolutely.
You need a play to kind of reset this, take some momentum back, calm everybody down. You know, Alarm will have a Nano coming in. You will have a Dragon of your own. Maybe you can set up some type of play, you know, get the Roadhog onto the point with the Nano boost, maybe the Sigma. You need to have a big play here because right now you're going to have a Gravitic Flux coming in here for the Seoul Dynasty. They're going to have Infrasight to be able to kind of see where everybody's coming from. They could be able to take point 2 rather quickly.
How does Ivy take control of this situation? He has a Dragon Strike, but very little to work with here. It can be used to maybe force the Dynasty back, and literally his only ult chat, no meme. A lot of damage on Jesse. A Body Grenade does connect from Alarm, but Fury and Alarm both get hit with one themselves. Creative punishing and preventing healing to the backline of Philly once more. And that gives an opening for Jess to be brought back to life. And now it's the whole hog on the card, and Ivy is just trying to skirt around it as much as he possibly can. But Creative again strikes, gets rid of Alarm, gets traded out. Both teams missing their armors and a lot of their healing, but it's about pot for Toby, and it's all gas, no breaks right now for the Dynasty, and they roll over the Fusion.
Yeah, and that's going to be Fitz taking out 2 on the Widow. You'll have a res here on the Poko. Just trying to take a breather, stay alive, but this is just stagger here. That'll be the Seoul Dynasty taking checkpoint B. You can take a look from Fitz's POV. Just uncontested there. Takes Poko out while he's using the Gravitic Flux as well. It's more than 5 minutes for Seoul Dynasty to get to the end here. This is so far from what I've expected from the Philly Fusion. I actually came into this and I thought Philly would bounce back in a big way. Seoul Dynasty looks to be picking up right where they left off against the San Francisco Shock, which is obviously scary for the Fusion, but it also should be scary for other teams. Well, there goes Prophet on the side.
Okay, maybe a bit of a gaff there from Prophet, maybe forced. Ivy's still going to go down though, so the Dynasty Lab are just thinking even the odds.
Where somebody is off the
Pogo's dead. He's absolutely dead. He gets dropped down and splats. He hits the ground. Fury's low, tries to back away, and somehow Funny Astro is able to create a resurrect opportunity, but he's not allowed to escape. Fitz finds him, and then the player he brought back into the fray. And the Fusion once more a coward. Forced back inside spawn now, and from their little hamlet they'll try and strike forth, but Gesture is waiting with a hook. Send him off to the abattoir.
Yeah, and that'll be a Dragon on the point. Yeah, players coming out. Fury will get a touch here. He'll get Biotic Grenaded. He won't be able to heal at all. Prophet will take him out. Now you just have Poko spinning on the point, as this could be a tremendous time from Seoul Dynasty.
Oh my. 3 minutes, 36 seconds on the clock, and that is what we call in the industry a bit of an oh-no-y. And there's nothing worse if you're Fury, Matt. You pop a whole hog, you're trying to save the day. Immediately you're doused with a Biotic Grenade. And then there's a defense matrix in your face. All of a sudden, you can't get anything done as Roadhog. And Creative has looked incredibly good on this Ana. He has 3 final blows right now. Really he's got more kills than Ivy and Hisu combined. Really punishing the backline. And we saw that Biotic Grenade he found on point A. It wasn't really a complex, convoluted angle. He just yeeted the and hit 3 Fusion players.
The Fusion just seems so disjointed right now. Like they're not able to coordinate anything together. Like Seoul Dynasty, right? We saw the great, you know, the hook with the Dragon Strike, you know, kind of set up with Gesture and Prophet. We haven't seen any type of like ultimate combo or anything come in from the Philly Fusion. And map number 1 or here to start, and map number 2. It's just a really odd look, and I think right now. You look at this, and it's a DPS difference right now, in my opinion. I think you have Fitz and Prophet who are really clicking on all cylinders. And, you know, whether it's been Ivy or Carpe in the game and Hisu, you just have not been able to match that firepower.
I'm telling you, Matt, this is the Prophet Gesture playoff narrative returning after 2018. So that's what happened here. He's not able to get purchased on the wall there.
And you still lose this fight.
Yeah, because it's traded out instantly by Fitz, who has 9 final blows and 0 deaths. Looking for more, he was. As Philadelphia now, I'd be very tentative about pushing out a spawn here. Seoul are a notch above.
So we'll see how Philly decides to work their way to the point. As Marvel does get pretty low, he's going to have to back out. Use the Kinetic Grasp, give himself some shields, trying to get it back towards that health pack. It looks like the Fusion want to try and wrap around, almost very similar to what Seoul Dynasty tried to do early on.
Trying to push towards a statue there. Deft little dodge by Marvel behind it. Gesture's going to heal himself back up to full, and well, he's just going to have to be resurrected here. Fortunately, fairly safe angle for Funny Astro now, especially with the Sleep Dart being connected. Alarm pretty much facilitates a resurrect by hitting Fitz across the map with that. Unfortunately, no follow-up opportunity to find the Widow. There's too many defenses in the way.
They do get some high ground here, though. It's Ivy come up right on the side of Fitz. Fitz has no ID. He's there. Big pick there from Ivy.
Yeah, he had the horse blinders on, and Ivy was all too willing to take advantage of that. Gesture wraps around the statue again and finds Poco, and Fury's going to get hit now with the with the nano boost. Put to sleep. Not ideal. Creative shuts the Roadhog down and buys a little bit of time now. Alarm gets a sleep dart, though, when he comes in with a Bardic Grenade. Gets rid of Creative, and Prophet falls now. Fury wakes up, tries to make something happen, but across the map it's a Dragon Strike getting rid of Fury. Funny Astro's down, and no! The support's for the Fusion! Ground in the dust.
And a solo Gravitic Flux there from Marvel onto Alarm. Just to get him out of the way. Is that Seoul Dynasty able to get a hold there, Mitch? And not give up a percentage point at all. I mean, not even close to a tick. I mean, they get nothing there for the Philly Fusion, as I was going to say Philly will come in here with Valkyrie. It'll be Funny Astro get the res here. Can they get anything going, though? Even though they've been able to get a first pick in some of these fights, they've not been able to turn it into any type of objective progress.
Fury looks for the hook. He can't find it now. It's a nano boosted Gesture bearing down upon him at a rate of knots. He has the whole hog, but he waits it out. He's going to get forced back now by the exact same from Fury. Fitz is removed by Ivy. It's a damage boosted arrow, and Fury looks for a right click with a Bardic Grenade. Now Fury just able to stay alive. No, it's Roadhog Day again for Fury. Creative gets rid of him, and Toby's going to have to step up now to try and stall the point a little bit. Poco will brush that off, and Fusion at least get the cart moving, Matthew, but it's anything but pretty.
That time they're able to convert. They do get the first pick, and they're able to work it down. It was not pretty. They're able to do it from there. Now let's see what they're left with. You have just Infrasight here. They have to push up. They have to try and take space. You are at a little bit of an ultimate disadvantage coming into the next fight, right? Whole Hog, you'll have a Dragon Strike here for Seoul Dynasty. Marvel can build up towards that Gravitic Flux rather quickly. All you'll have is Infrasight, which could buy you some space here for the Philly Fusion.
Fitz just sets a poison mine up there in case someone tries to wrap around, but Prophet's going to be brought back into the fight. The kill location clearly safe enough for Toby to swoop in and cover that small blemish. What is Fitz doing? Who is he looking for? I think he's actually trying to counter-snipe Hisu now, knowing that there's an Infrasight in play, but Prophet and Marvel have already been knocked over now, and Ivy can step forward again.
Yeah, if you're Seoul, you just need to start backing up. But look at this Gesture on the flank.
This guy's psycho. Honestly, going for the most audacious plays, and he's able to get away 2-3 seconds. He'll be able to take another breather.
How does he never get... I mean, now he's out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, he could spawn kill Alarm, but still able to get these picks.
Creative is playing that off angle there as well, looking for a Bardic Grenade from behind. He catches Ivy, the 1v1. Creative. Ooh, not enough out of paintball, but it may already be enough. Yes, Gesture he was behind the play, maybe caught out of action, but all the time bought there by Creative allows him to come back.
But you cannot allow Gesture to just kind of walk around the map as he pleases on the flank and just pick up players like Alarm. And then he comes back all the way on a long flank, takes out Fury there.
It's wild that he gets there in time to do anything.
It's the same thing though on Control though, Mitch. He was just going on these journeys alone, and they never punished him at all. If he's gonna play like this, you need to punish him.
Hisu sees the hog coming, backs up, but Funny Astro takes a headshot from Prophet. That can't be resurrected, and the Fusion now are going to be forced to twiddle their thumbs and wait as their time bank dwindles further.
This is good for Seoul Dynasty, right? You have a tremendous amount of time in the time bank. You've completed the map. Now you just stall out the Philly Fusion some more. Funny Astro will get back into the fight here. Double support ults for both teams. Inforsite here from Fitz. You could use that to buy yourself some time. They're not going to push into that. If you wanted to just draw out more clock. They end up using the walls, but it seems like more like he's waiting for Hisu to pop his.
Oh no, Valkyrie for Funny Astro. He has to resurrect Alarm. He has the Transcendence, and he is able to bring the Zenyatta back into the fray. Poco went very low, and Fury is trying to wrap around a la Gesture, looking for a pick. He doesn't find one though, and somehow Creative is just sitting behind the entirety of the Fusion. He's eventually punished for that by Hisu, and that Transcendence should help the Fusion now get over the line. Marvel's forced to come back a little bit. Toby tries to keep him topped up. The accretion almost gets Marvel out alive. The Fusion get to the last phase of the map. It's 2 minutes 12.
Yeah, here's the advantage, though, for Seoul Dynasty. They know that they have this massive time bank. They have kind of the Golden Box victory being as the completion of the map. They don't feel obligated to invest heavy into that fight. You have the Nano, you have Whole Hog here coming up next, where Philly had to invest absolutely everything into that fight. You should be able to come back here for Seoul Dynasty, get a fight win for relatively cheap, maybe a Whole Hog, maybe just a Nano, and have some ultimates coming up next.
Ivy's able to take control of the high ground now, which makes things very perilous for Gesture. Dragon Strike to the left-hand corner. It'll keep Gesture out of the fight for the time being. He'll need to wait, but Prophet was brought back. It's going to be a Nano Boost now given over to Gesture, who has the Whole Hog, but he has a Discord Orb in him right now and knows he'd get burnt down very quickly. Prophet, it's a wayward arrow, an afterthought that claims the life of Ivy. Another Resurrect had to be expended by Funny Astro.
A minute and 20 here for the Philly Fusion. They do make a lot of good cart progress. So what will they have to work with? Right now, doesn't really look like much. So Marvel should be looking to get this, Gravitic Flux off before the Transcendence comes in. You have to have an idea that Alarm is close.
Whole Hog for Gesture, environmental kill potential here as well. But Ivy's gone down already. What a great opening here for the Fusion. Yes, they have the information. They can see where they are. That's because the Dynasty are right up in their grill. Gesture wants to try and push up. He can't interrupt the Resurrect with the hook. That just misses. So Ivy returns to the fight. Poco's forced back momentarily. Oh, that is not supposed to happen.
And you already used the res, so now you don't have this to bring him back quickly with the Transcendence.
He will have a chance to get back into this fight, Matthew, but it will be last chance saloon for the Fusion once he returns. Gravitic Flux has a Whole Hog there. Ivy, Sonic Arrow, a tense duel between him and Prophet. Ivy wants to push forward though and take that more further platform, but he can't because Marvel's playing the low ground here and there's a Roadhog on the left-hand side of your screen. Poco's
1 HP pretty much.
If that accretion hit him, it would have been curtains for the Sigma from the Fusion. Here's Alarm back with that Transcendence, but it doesn't protect him against headshots. Fitz finds the insta-kill. It requires the Resurrect now as Hishu's brought back into the fight. Ivy's able to just a 180 and find Prophet now. Maybe a slight overextension on his part, and Fitz has gone hunting for the Zen. Gets rid of him now, and Funny Astro barely alive. See the Whole Hog here for Fury is available, but Gesture's going to tear them apart. He eventually gets forced back now as Fury churns that scrap gun. It's really only him on the card, and he's playing the high ground right now. Fury just trying to get it across the line. There will be a Wrecking Ball in the way. Fury tries to yank him off the card to prevent any sort of stall, but it doesn't quite work out, and Toby now is going to keep him topped up.
He's not going to be able to stay on the point, though. Gesture coming back into the fight with a Whole Hog will knock him off. Nobody able to get back for the Philly Fusion. And although they started to show signs of life there later in their offense, it is still not enough. As Seoul Dynasty, they take a commanding 2-0 lead.
I mean, what a map for the Prophet and Fitz combo. 13 final blows for Profit, 12 for Fitz. Just for perspective, Ivy and Hisu have 7 respectively, and Gesture chimes in with 12 of his own. We talked about Roadhog fulfilling so many different roles now. Gesture, the way he's playing, he's this braggadocious gentleman as he moves across the map, really pitching in a lot of those skill opportunities. Yes, Sideshow-esque, you could even say, but it's been really important there for the pressure being brought down by the Seoul Dynasty. And it's threatening to crash the Fusion right now. They have a brief moment, a brief reprieve, a lot less time than the 1 day between matches they'll have. We'll see what they can produce after the break, but for now, we're going to head to our halftime break and hear from our experts.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Spawn Room. Golden Boy here. Time to play Name That Map, but don't just name it as quickly as you can. You'll see what I mean in a second here. Let's name that map. Ooh, seems dark, ominous almost. Huh, is that a truck? Okay. Oh, all right. It's Horizon Lunar Colony. Congratulations to everybody that got it right. So much more to come for the Spawn Room and much more from the Overwatch League 2020 Grand Finals coming right up.
Welcome to a game break presented by Cheesy Grooves. Zoe here, joined by Costa as well as Reinforce. And currently, the Seoul Dynasty are leading the charge 2-0 against the Philadelphia Fusion. And
It's been a little painful to watch. I can't help it. I'm
hurts a
sorry.
little.
I wanted to keep it inside of me, but I couldn't. Not like this, Fusion. Not like this. Let's talk about what just went down, starting with Busan. Throughout the entirety of that map, it just kind of felt like Fusion never really found their footing. It just kind of looks like this meta is not within their comfort zone, Reinforce.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it, right? Look, let's be real for a second. We've seen the Philadelphia Fusion put forth some incredible performances this season. They've competed with the very best teams in the North American region and really showcased some quality Overwatch. But it hasn't been on these compositions. It's been when it's Projectile Heroes with Genji in the mix, and now you're forced to play double hit scan with Hisu and Carpe, and you're forced to play a new kind of playstyle that the Fusion hasn't really shined in the past. And so making these broad adjustments, it is very difficult. It's not like just changing how one player leaps and dives into a fight, and that's the end of it, right? It's not. You cannot sum the entire strategy in Overwatch into a tweet. Like, you can't. There's more to it than that. It takes months for some of these players to adjust to a new playstyle and really enable themselves to play lots of different styles. And I think in this scenario, it just isn't what the Philadelphia Fusion are good at. I think the playoff meta has developed to a point where no longer the Philadelphia Fusion are comfortable and they cannot really play to their strengths going up against some of these teams. It's the unfortunate reality of competitive Overwatch that sometimes you find yourself in these moments. Now, that being said, being very harsh on the Philadelphia Fusion, it is not over yet, and you can rid yourself of your current presuppositions and bring forth a new composition, play with confidence, and just try to start from ground zero. And I think that is what the Fusion has to do in the rest of this series.
Yeah, I think
talking about changing things up. Oh, you go ahead, Costa.
No, sorry. I just wanted to add something real quick about Seoul as well. We're seeing a contrast in a playoff meta between two teams. I don't think Seoul has had the best season. They went 12-12 in the regular season. They finished 5th in the APAC region. They are by no means, I would say, one of the most diverse teams that we have in this league, especially in these Final Four. But this is coming through very well for them. They look so comfortable. You got Prophet on that Hanzo, you got Fitz on that Widow, and Gesture somehow is just a Roadhog god. So it's all come together for them in the complete opposite way that it has for the Philadelphia Fusion. So unfortunate for Philly, but very good signs for the Seoul Dynasty.
Absolutely. Now, Costa, in our crunch time presented by Cheesy Grooves, I want you to talk about the changes. We already saw the Fusion pulling out of their sleeves, heading into Kings Row, that they're coming in with a different subbing strategy, bringing in Ivy, bringing in Poco. That already feels like a last-stage effort, and there's only the second map in.
Yeah, this is true to its name in crunch time right here. This is, and I really like this decision. This is Philadelphia Fusion being like, our back's against the wall. That was not a clean first map. We're really struggling to get anything done with the current lineup that we have been playing. So I think it's time to just call in reinforcements. Try and throw it all at the wall and see what sticks.
All right, I'm ready.
Hoping it all really comes through. And that's it. Like, we saw Poco and Ivy come in here. They did okay. It didn't really change the tides of anything that happened. It was still very heavily in the in the Seoul Dynasty's favor. So I like that they're going for it, but it just hasn't seemed to work for them yet.
Yeah,
well, they're keeping both of those players in, heading into the third map, which is also their pick. It's going to be Anubis. I want to ask, like, what can they do, in the second half? But like, is there anything you can actually really point out, Reinforce?
No, I mean, I do agree with Scott that I think you just have to rely now on these two players and actually try to make this your new composition, your new roster that you really want to play well with in the second half here. I don't think you can go back to Carpe at this point. It didn't work on map 1, and it didn't really play into the same team chemistry that we saw from the Philadelphia Fusion earlier in the playoffs. Because keep in mind, earlier in the playoffs, the Fusion, they did play Sombra Reaper, and they did play Ivy and Hisu and really made that work, right? So I don't think that the Fusion can go back to Carpe at this point. I think you have to stick with Ivy and Hisu now and just play this out. Try to start from ground zero, build up some confidence by hitting some nice plays, etc. And that's how the Fusion claw back into this series. Get some momentum going with this new roster, this new lineup on maps, and I think maybe they can claw themselves back in the second half.
Well, they have to start their comeback now as we're heading into the second half. The Seoul Dynasty are already up 2-0, so it is match point for them in order to qualify. And that is just such a rough spot, really, for the Philadelphia Fusion. What a world we're living in, where you have to say that one of the absolute star players, Carpe, you should put him back into the mix. This is on Ivy and Poco now. Like, that's a lot of pressure, big shoes to fill. Let's see. See if they can get it done as we're heading over to Anubis. So once more, we're sending it back over to Mr. X and Uber.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spawn Room. It's Golden Boy and time to play Name That Player. We provide fun facts about an Overwatch star, you provide the player. Here are your 3 clues. 2020 MVP candidate. Led all Sigmas in accretion, stun / kill rate this season. Previously played for the Los Angeles Gladiators. The answer is Void. Congrats to everybody that got it right. So much more to come from the Spawn Room and, of course, the Overwatch League 2020 Grand Finals. We'll see you soon.
Overwatch League is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Grand Finals, of course, presented by IBM. And this has been a difficult trial so far for the Philadelphia Fusion. Not only yesterday, their struggles against frightening Dragons, but now we're starting to realize that it's not just the Dragons from the APAC region that are pretty darn scary. Seoul look dominant in this head-to-head match.
I agree with a lot of the stuff that I think Reinforced was talking about during the desk. So, you know, sometimes in Overwatch the meta just switches up on you when your playstyle, it just doesn't really kind of fit. This is something I don't think anyone could have, well, really predicted before the playoffs, right? That like Roadhog would become kind of like this mainstay, and you know, you'd have like it kind of evolve into like a double hit scan type of scenario. Where the Philadelphia Fusion just don't seem to have a grasp on it right now. Where this is kind of working into everything that kind of Seoul can play into. A little bit of like chaotic energy with Gesture kind of just running around on the hog. And I think you see that with Philadelphia making these big adjustments. Now having Poco come in instead of Sato, and Sato has played incredible all season long. And then Ivy now coming in for Carpe. When we saw Philly towards the end of the season and they were playing a lot of like the dive compositions, right, with like Sombra in the mix, they looked so good. And they were able to get here, you know, taking out the Justice, who were playing a lot of the Roadhog comps, doing that. I think, though, these teams are just another level, and I think over the past few weeks, while we all don't get the privy to see in terms of scrims, since the teams have kind of been able to boot camp since getting to Korea, it's evolved past the point of being able to play dive against it, so it seems. And I think that's where we've left Philly in this spot, where they probably came in and they knew that this is not our meta. Let's try and figure a way to win. They thought it was maybe having Carpe in, playing some Tracer with the Zen and the Mercy, because we did see the Shock do that when they played the Justice, I believe. They ended up switching to the Zen, and they had Striker play the Tracer. That hasn't worked, and then now I think for the hit scan stuff and playing some more Hanzo, you're seeing them bring in Ivy.
We saw struggles, of course, for Alarm, who played a little bit of Zenyatta on Busan early in the series, but tend to get run down pretty hard by Prophet. Initially his Tracer, and then, of course, when the switch to double hit scan occurred.
I think Alarm's actually had a pretty good series overall, though, to be quite honest. I think it's just he's been in incredibly difficult positions, whether it's, Gesture kind of chasing him around. You've had, Fitz really winning that Widowmaker battle, so you don't really kind of have him contested by anybody on your side of things. I feel like for the situation and kind of the hand that Alarm's been dealt, I feel like he's actually had quite a good series. I think it's just Seoul Dynasty really clicking in all cylinders, and I think, Seoul's able to get by Philly here. I think that match against Shanghai is going to be really competitive. I think this Seoul team looks like on another level today.
Of course, Kings Row was the second map in the series, and one where we saw a lot of those mix-ups for the Philadelphia Fusion. Fitz and Hisu again featured in a head-to-head on Widowmaker, and Fitz looked incredibly good again over the course of the entire map. Per 10 minutes, these stats are, so you can see that Fitz is north of 10 final blows per 10 minutes, which is absolutely a benchmark for a high-impact DPS player. The eliminations per 10 as well. A lot of involvement in these kills. Arguably more aggressive, riskier play from him, but it really yielded results.
And he's not getting punished for it. It's the same risky play we see from Gesture, and he is not getting punished for it either. We get in the game, it will be Temple of Anubis. This is the Philadelphia Fusion pick. They'll take us here. And we've seen them play some kind of like Sombra compositions on this map in the past. I don't think you'll see it here. I would actually be shocked to see it kind of come out. And also, they don't really have the lineup for it with Poco in the game, but you never know. I think this map, you'll most certainly need the Widowmaker in play.
Philadelphia found so much success, right, with compositions that featured Winston, a liberal helping of Sombra in there, allowing sort of, Sombra Ashe compositions, allowing Carpe to pop off there. But it's a different story. This team's forced to adapt, but they have had ample time to do so. It does feel like we're looking at a team who was shell-shocked by just the level of competition brought yesterday and today, and they're still reeling. But this is their last chance to find their feet. This is Philadelphia's last chance to play Overwatch here in the Grand Finals for 2020 if they don't get a victory here.
Well, all the teams have had the ample time, right? Now, I think you can say maybe Philly didn't if we kind of saw the Shock slumping, but we've seen the Shock already take out this Seoul Dynasty team and the Shanghai Dragons. So I think it's really just some of these APAC teams, specifically obviously Seoul and Shanghai, just kind of flexing their muscle of how strong this region was.
All right, Fusion will make their way fairly slowly up into this left-hand side. Notice the Dynasty aren't really competing for it now. There's really not a lot of sort of shield durability here. It's just the Sigma, and the Fusion able to line up Prophet pretty instantly here, and a Resurrect may not be an option for Toby right now as these sightlines are so open. This gives Hisu a pretty comfortable position now and knows he only can really be tested by Fitz for the time being.
Yeah, just you see how Seoul Dynasty is playing, though. They're just giving him nothing on the point. For him to get anything, they need to start forcing the fights on the point. That'll be a pick there they get on a Gesture.
Slowly but surely, Funny Astro goes down, but the reinforcements a little bit quicker for the Philadelphia Fusion. It may not matter, though, because Prophet's gotten rid of Ivy, and all of a sudden, Philadelphia look a little bit listless, unaware of where to turn next, and Alarm's going to get pressure now. Prophet tries to go over the top, but it's a nice accretion to shut that Hanzo down. But look at where Fitz is. He pushed so far forward with a cheeky grapple around the top right side. Philly completely taken by surprise.
And they get the action they want. They get a pick. They get Hisu set up on the archway with no fire back. They just needed to get players into his line of sight. They need to force some kind of action on the point. They needed to get players to drop down. Soul able to just, buy so much time. You take a look from Fitz POV here. Comes on the side of Alarm. Nothing Alarm can do. He had to take out Poco at the end there. So this is a sleep dart onto Gesture, and then you also have the Dragon coming through.
Yeah, forcing the Dynasty to play in that small alcove, lines it up for Ivy, should I say, but Prophet gets a quick peek out. It will be the Dynasty, though their defensive prowess is going to start to peter away. It's really just Toby and Fitz, who's hit with a Bardic Grenade up on top there, and peeking right now would be a very bad idea. By the looks of things, I don't think they really intend to contest any further.
I do not think you fight this, but I know Fitz getting into more aggressive position. Now he'll back up. Yeah, not a chance. You didn't have either of the tanks in a position. Neither of them are mobile enough to make it back. So you will have Philadelphia taking point A. 4 minutes plus in the bank to make a way towards point B, and they have some ultimates to work with. Specifically, this Gravitic Flux. No big kind of support ultimate like a Transcendence on the other side.
Fusion now coming with, key ultimates. An Alarm on the Ana here, who was tied for second in fewest deaths this season, and also second place for Bardic Grenade kills. But Creative has really showed him up in, honestly, both of those categories in this match tonight. Uncharacteristic from Alarm, and he and Ivy get bundled up inside a Dragon Strike and fried.
As you had it, that was Marvel with a Gravitic Flux into the Dragon Strike from Prophet. Allow Seoul Dynasty to get a hold, buy them some time on the defensive end. So now Kisu, I was going to say he gets a pick on the Fitz, but brought in by Gesture, getting into the choke, as I know all of these kills and picks here for Seoul Dynasty is going to give them, buy them like about a minute or plus.
Kisu, while suspended, is able to find a cheeky pick on Prophet, but it's tough to recover from that. Who would have thought Gravitic Flux Dragon Strike is such a strange combination and not nearly as tidy as a Graviton Surge, but it achieves its intended purpose there for
Very
Soul.
Similar. Yeah, and also with the Gravitic Flux, right? You lose so much health hitting the ground with no kind of support ultimate on the other side like a Transcendence. Those players are going to die as soon as that Dragon comes through if you can time it right.
Pogo, Gravitic Flux here. Gesture caught by that one, and Marvel also gets headshot by a Storm Arrow now as Ivy starts to churn them out. Spots Creative in the back corner there, but maybe is more concerned about targets that could actually threaten him, like Marvel getting resurrected in the backside. This forces Philly actually off the point. Fitz wrapping around as well. No one could contest him here, Matt.
No, he gets all the way around. Okay, they deal with him, but just the threat of him is devastating as they get a sleep on a Gesture here. The mid-bridge, but nothing that Philly will be able to kind of make play out of. That seemed like it could have been a huge opening for the Philly Fusion. What? They get 3 players at the beginning of that. They get both tanks.
Oh,
and
my
then
God.
It's Toby with a res, and you see Fury there with the Nano Boost sleeping on the job. Same with Gesture now.
Yeah, both of them get the Nano Boost, mostly for the damage reduction, if anything else. But now the Gesture actually has the later Nano Boost. Oh, he got baited into that one, though. Fury tries to turn around him with a whole hog, then to his left, then to his right, forcing everybody away. He lashes out at the encroaching Seoul Dynasty squad, and Creative has fallen. There's no supports left for the Dynasty now, and Fury can actually come out from under the bridge like the troll he is and get his revenge against the populace of this small village. And he'll chase Matt all the way. Fitz tries to get back into spawn. That sleep dart saves his life and prevents him from having to respawn.
Yeah, but they're not out of it yet. Fitz will get one. Prophet on the Genji just contesting the point. Creative with another one.
He's down finally. Prophet able to move to the point now. I mean, the Genji switch from Prophet, that extra mobility is big, but it's getting turned around on him now. Toby and Prophet sitting on the point to try and keep it going. Marvel's also joined them now. Funny Astro knocked off, of course, and Prophet is finally felled, and Toby looking for Funny Astro, who scoots himself right the heck out of there. Bardic Grenade from Creative connects with 2 targets, but it's not enough in Philadelphia. They roll in over the line like the last player in a Fall Guys game with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the round. It's not a lot, but it's going to have to do.
No, at least it's something to build off here for the Fusion, right? You've given yourself a clear opportunity to win the map. It's something you have not done in map 1 or map 2. It has to be a big confidence booster here for Philadelphia. Your point A defense needs to be good, though. I think giving up the point early to Seoul Dynasty takes away a lot of the good positive vibes you just built up.
I think something that maybe got a little overlooked as we sort of discussed some storylines coming into the playoffs is that Fitz was statistically dominant in playoffs. So in this exact meta, this unchanged patch, he, ranked first for final blows per 10 minutes, 10.6 over all of the playoff games, and then 17.3 eliminations per 10. Really active, really aggressive Widowmaker. That's maybe why he, why he had a few more deaths than Hisu in the head-to-head, but he's also tied for second in least deaths. Somehow, Fitz is getting away with playing so aggressively, getting so involved in these fights, and surviving.
Take a look here. Of the Honors, I believe. Yep, everybody just sleeping on the job.
What a mess.
It looked like that was actually Alarm who takes out Creative, and as he takes him out, sleeps him. So a little bit of the Honors battling out there on the side. It's Philly on defense, nothing surprising here. They will match the Seoul Dynasty.
Ivy has looked incredibly good over this map as Hanzo. Yeah. So many of those pick opportunities created by him. Even though the Fusion as a unit still look a little lackluster, Ivy is starting the fights off.
I said to you during the rehearsal, I actually thought, in my opinion, I thought with how they played yesterday, they were going to start Ivy today. I thought you would have seen that change a little bit earlier. They elect to not make it until the second map, but I thought there was a good chance that Ivy would have started today with what he's capable of and how we've seen the play against the Shanghai Dragons. But maybe it's enough. Maybe it's not too late here for the Philly Fusion, as that'll be Fitz kicking it off with a pick on the Hisu.
Yeah, again, just continuing the story of dominance and funny.
Filthy.
I mean, how do you know if you're Funny Astro? How can you expect Prophet to make that kind of rotation? He was in a different part of the map completely. That's a big bite of grenade from Alarm, but there's just no follow-up to it.
Yeah, you just you're not able to push and get aggressive on the back of it because you know that they have so much extra damage sitting on their side.
And I mean, Hypersphere's inside a small room. You don't have to be a physicist to figure out what's going to happen there.
They're going to walk into this next fight. So this will be Seoul Dynasty taking point A. They're going to walk in, Mitch, with that same combo we just saw them pull off. The Gravitic Flux plus the Dragon Strike. I mean, look at this. They're going to be stacked, man. 6 ultimates here probably for the Seoul Dynasty as they'll approach the point.
This is Fitz. That's the first pick that opens the fight up. And you see Prophet actually rotating on his left. Immediately, look at this. No Resurrect. Funny Astro punished in a big way there for maybe a telegraphed move.
He probably has an idea there's a chance that Prophet gets that position. Prophet is just so good on the Hanzo. We've seen it historically.
It's his movement.
Hitting shots
it's so
like that,
fluid.
he makes hitting long-range shots like that look so easy. That is not an easy shot.
It looks like he has like 3 charges of his dash available, and everyone else has to use just the one. The way he gets around the map. Oh, that's a big one. Marvel's able to find Alarm with a Hypersphere just around that left-hand side. And Gesture now litters the point with corpses. The Seoul Dynasty just break on through. They ooze confidence now. And Poco's is going to try and keep this stalled out. Hisu switching towards the Mei is never a good sign. Alarm fades onto the point, then fades to black. Tries to stay alive with a healing orb, but it's not enough. And yeah, Hisu gets a rude awakening of the Tectonic type. And it'll just be a Genji trying to deflect on the point for Ivy. He's with the Bardic Grenade as well. Here's the Wrecking Ball once more. Poco still trying to step up, but the Fusion now are being put to bed. Alarm again hits with Accretion, and that's a 4-minute and 9-second time bank for the Seoul Dynasty. Straight for the jugular.
And it kind of goes against everything I was saying, right? So they need to put together a good point A hold to build upon them completing grind. If they're able to hold off for a while there on point A, Philly, you give yourself a chance there for point B, and you feel kind of good about yourself, right? Like, they are actually kind of hitting them back, allowing them to take point A in the fashion they did. They come in with 6 ultimates, everybody across the board. They started off in the same way I mentioned they would, with the Gravitic Flux plus the Dragon Strike, Nano onto the whole hog, and that was it. So now you sit with 4 minutes here for the Seoul Dynasty on their attack. Philly Fusion with just 1 minute and 8 on their offense. Really, for Philly, you're looking at like, what, 1, maybe 2 pushes at best. Is Prophet going to play the Pharah here? We've seen them do it on maps like Volskaya in the past.
I mean, the guy...
this is it. Look, with the way the way they played, I look, we know how good of a Pharah Prophet is. Let him play it and just spam the choke.
Listen,
right?
I mean, out of 13 players, Matt, that have played Pharah in the playoffs, or across this season, he's first in hero damage, final blows, and eliminations. You have so many formations on this map to break line of sight from enemy snipers from and stay safe. Defensive Pharah, we've seen it a couple times in these playoffs, and it really hurts when it works.
And he can hold these angles and make it difficult for them to push through the choke. And you know what? Challenge a double off tank line to try and push through this. What do they do, right? Do you have somebody switch to like a Wrecking Ball to try and go back and put pressure on the point? Poko will play D.Va. As we've not seen the D.Va Roadhog combination quite all that much. We've seen it a little bit, but really it's been Sigma Hog that seems to be the difference maker.
Fitz getting taken down as an opener is big, and it looks like the Fusion don't want to give the Dynasty a chance to breathe and get the Resurrect, but Fury, one of the most important players in this kind of setup for the Fusion, especially with the D.Va, is put down so early, and now Poko's what, just defense mage, just in his backline if he can, just try and keep going. They're out of time, Philly.
And Poko can't go and contest the point, because if he does that, he's going to lose his backline. Big headshot there from Hisu on the Prophet.
But here comes the rest! That is a huge headshot from Hisu now, gets rid of Marvel and opens things right up. He gets a safe position to play from now, and he has bought the Fusion time. Now, is it a reprieve, Matt, or is it a second wind? We're still yet to find out, but Philly are still in the game. They are still in the grand finals.
30 seconds.
All right, 30 seconds for the Philly Fusion. Try and take this second checkpoint. They'll have Valkyrie, they'll have a Nano, probably a Nano onto the Hog. You're going to get a mech back right now. You have a Dragon Strike to separate some players, maybe get some point progress at least here.
Hisu steps up. Infrasight, Dragon Strike also thrown in. Marvel couldn't get away in time. Prophets falls back into the left side corner. Now Fury's going to bear down on them. He's hit with a Nano Boost, but put to sleep instantly. Great response, but Alarm also finds one, and that allows Hisu to find a headshot on Gesture. Poko dashes in, gets rid of Fitz. Prophet gets the Nano Boost now. He needs to stay alive, but more importantly, needs to find some headshots. He's headed straight for the back line now, but Funny Astro is doused with a friendly Biotic Grenade. Prophet still able to find a headshot on Hisu, though, when Fury's hit with a Biotic Grenade himself. No healing for the time being. Just over one tick taken for the Philly Fusion. They want to push forward, but it looks like they're running on fumes. Poko knocked up in mini D form, and Fury chased down by the rest of the Seoul Dynasty. Overtime is out, and the Philadelphia Fusion have put their best foot forward, and it's going to have to be enough here on Anubis.
Hisu really saves the day with some of those headshots. Losing Fury early puts Poko in a really difficult position, whether a defense makes his backline or try and get there and touch the point. His decisions made a little bit easier when Hisu's able to pop off, take out two headshots back to back. If he doesn't make that play, they may not get point A. Seoul Dynasty decided to change it up. Then you can probably look at, do they really need to play the Pharah Ashe combination there? Probably not. They could have stuck with the Hanzo Widow. I think potentially just trying to catch a Philly team, which is adjusting to this meta still. Still does not have a firm grasp on it. Maybe try and catch them even a little bit more off guard. Try and challenge them to play against something along those lines. But Hisu comes up big. 2 headshots. Now it's the real test. 4 minutes and 9 seconds. They will have to play defense. They'll have to, worse, right, they can give up point A, but still, checkpoint B, 42% for the Philly Fusion. They cannot allow what happened to happen in the first time. Again, Mitch, the first time Seoul Dynasty is able to just storm through point A, have all 6 ultimates going into checkpoint B. They allow something like that, and they only need 42%. This will be a Seoul Dynasty 3-0.
It was the Fitz headshot that started it all on the attack around, but Prophets are up at 19 final blows and 10 there's what? Make that? Yeah, that's 10 now. This gets hit there by Ivy at long range, and that will be resurrected here. So the Dynasty, despite the fact they have a very healthy time bank, want to keep the pressure on here. They expend the Resurrect, and they're off to the races once more.
And you saw Fury using the emote there, just third-personing around the wall. That'll be Ivy with another one. Fury with a kill on a Gesture. So maybe some signs of life here for the Philly Fusion, but it's answered back with 2 kills from Fitz, 1 from Prophet, another from Marvel. The DPS difference today It has been all fits and profit. They've been unreal.
The coverage is insane. There is no part of this point that the Seoul Dynasty don't have two snipers' eyes trained on. You see where Fitz was playing from there? He really didn't have to move too much. Just wait for the Fusion to expose themselves. Philly had to make a play. They didn't have the shielding, and they'd lost Alarm, and, well, they've lost Ivy now as well. It's unlikely the Dynasty can make a play off the back of that kill, as there'll be a shortened respawn, but point A, they've got it.
Yeah, he'll have that fast spawn, so he's already back into the play here as Seoul Dynasty. You have the 3 minutes and 17 seconds. You have an opportunity to try and go in. You don't have any ultimates right here. Build some ults. Maybe you try and just kind of lurk around, play for picks. Jester's been pretty effective with his hooks, so maybe you're able to just manufacture a pick out of that, get some ults, and just store them onto the point. Mind you, they only need about 43% here to win it.
Oh no. Oh my! Ivy taken down. Has to be a hasty resurrect, but Fitz is going to look to go for blood after that one. This forces Funny Astro to stay on that right-hand side with Poco. And the Dynasty had an opportunity now, but the Gravitic Flux might create another one. Ivy's able to hop, skip, and jump out of it, but Alarm wasn't so lucky. Prophet takes him down in mid-air, and once more is Ivy going to be called on to try and break the Fusion out of this compromising scenario. There we go. Take a soil sample for analysis, Ivy. He's back in spawn, and the Dynasty move forward in numbers now. Just a little on Funny Astro to mean he couldn't get out there, and the Seoul Dynasty dispatch a Philly Fusion who spent all season creating chaos and thriving in it, but now Philadelphia, they die by the same sword that they lift.
It's a tremendous showing here from the Seoul Dynasty. Dominant, start to finish. I know they really bounced back in this match against the San Francisco Shock. They're not able to win it, but you saw the second half Seoul Dynasty here today against the Philadelphia Fusion. And for Philly, this is an extremely disappointing way to end the season. This is a team that had looked good from start to finish in North America. They contend for a lot of our cups towards the end of the season in North America. They looked really good, withstanding every type of meta. And they come here to the Final Four, and they don't get a game. It's just a really disappointing finish for a Philly Fusion team that I think a lot of people thought they were a clear cut above a team like Seoul Dynasty. Everybody coming into this event was talking about really 3 teams with a chance to win it. Your Shocks and Shanghai Dragons, then your outside chance to Philly Fusion. Nobody was really talking about Seoul Dynasty making a run here. It is definitely looking like Seoul Dynasty can do that, and Philadelphia Fusion, they have a rough time here in the Grand Finals.
I mean, Matt, when Seoul Dynasty, they left the NA region, they came to APAC, everyone expected them to do so with a splash to really make an impact in Asia immediately. This didn't actually happen, or at least not in that same time frame, because Seoul Dynasty had to contend with teams like the Spitfire, the Hunters, but even more importantly, teams like the Guangzhou Charge, who were able to take monthly titles out there in the Asian region, constantly polishing themselves against this top opposition. But this was a Philadelphia Fusion who had knocked out victories against the Shock recently, who had a actually consistent and dominant season. But when it really mattered, when it came down to it, Carpe disappeared.
I mean, it's a whole team kind of disappearance there for the Philly Fusion. Nobody, I think Alarm had a good weekend. I don't think you can really say anybody else really brought it.
I think Ivy looked incredible when he got subbed in, Matt.
Yeah, he did look good. I think this is just a big learning experience for the Philly Fusion. That no matter how well they play during the regular season, we are going to judge this team about what they do in the Cups, what they do in the playoffs. We've already seen the regular season accolades for this team. We know what they can do there. We're going to judge them now based off of everything they do in the postseason. And judging by this one, it is not good thus far.
And this sets up an incredible potential storyline or run forward now for the Seoul Dynasty. They go up against a very familiar foe in the Shanghai Dragons right after this. It's a gauntlet of hell to run through, but they're going to try and do it. And they're going to be led by none other than our player of the match. I mean, it was incredible performance from Gesture, and he is going to be winning the honors this time around. The Roadhog, Matt, looks so good, and he is our Xfinity player of the match.
Yes, he's able to get on these flanks with the Roadhog, get himself into really, you kind of look at it and be like, oh, these are really kind of poor positions, but just the threat of him on the flank, the threat of the hooks, he had a really good series. I think you could also say, whether Prophet or Fitz. I think the DPS duo of Prophet and Fitz really outplayed, Ivy, Hisu, and Carpe today. But the ability to have the tank core for the Seoul Dynasty be in the game all the time, they didn't have to make any changes. Sato had to come out for the Philly Fusion, and it's the Roadhog difference. The Roadhog is really kind of what a lot of teams are playing around right now, and Gesture looked much better than any option that Philly threw out.
And look, he was able to stave off so much pressure as well. I mean, there was plenty of Ana from Alarm, the Biotic Grenades, and also Discord when he was playing Zenyatta. And there isn't a diva in this composition from Seoul to sort of just defense matrix the Hog when he's vulnerable, maybe when he gets hit by an accretion, he can't take a breather. Still, Gesture's able to balance this incredibly aggressive, pick-oriented style of play while also staying alive and just being really, really hard to get rid of in general. So you combine him getting an equal amount of kills with his other DPS on King's Row, for example, and then you have this ridiculous aggression of Prophet when he's constantly rotating, finding angles that punish his attempts at resurrects, and then Fitz, who's just a pivot point. He's the fulcrum of this team. He sits in the back and finds headshots like it's nothing. Seoul have so many good things going for them right now, and you have to wonder, up against Shanghai Dragons, you have to feel like the Dynasty are reinvigorated.
We've seen this team already push Shanghai to the brink, right? We have seen this team match up against the Shanghai Dragons, really push them towards the end. So this rematch, in one where Seoul Dynasty is looking like the hot team, this is a really tough game for Shanghai coming up. You still would say Shanghai is the favorite, but with the way that Seoul's playing right now, they have the hot hand.
I mean, an incredible match coming up. It's a renewal of a rivalry that's really been fleshed out multiple times over the course of this season, just because of the smaller number of teams in this APAC region. These are two teams that know each other intimately, and it's quite possible they have scrimmed against each other even on this patch, knowing that they would be, going up against teams from the North American region as well. We have champions from past eras in this roster, multiple of them, and they're going up against a team of the Dragons who has like 5 Roll Stars on them, so it's almost like the champions of yesterday.
They are the Roll Stars, yeah,
that's right. Incredible performance from the Seoul Dynasty now, and we don't want to dwell on it too much, but the Philadelphia Fusion, this is an underperformance, safe to say. We're not talking about choking or anything like that, because this was a problem they carried into the grand finals and was still beleaguered by it by the time they were kicked out.
Well, it'll be it's a team now for the future. I look, the Philadelphia Fusion have a fantastic roster, top to bottom. Different shakeout in the meta, we could be talking about a completely different showing from this team. But with what we've seen thus far, and what we saw in some of the cups coming in, second, not able to get over the hump, I think what we'll be talking about a lot going into next year and during next year. I expect this team to be extremely strong during the regular season, but we got to start seeing wins in the postseason.
So now we talk about how the Dynasty stacks up a little bit against the Dragons, as we're going to be heading into that match next. A lot of very strong points, I think. We obviously saw that Fleta had a quieter match in his one up against the San Francisco
Striker,
Shock. So, that's one to look out for there if there's dominant presence in the Tracer role. But we'll get onto that. There's a lot of theory crafting. It'll be fun. But in the meantime, we're going to head to one of my favorite times. Danny Lim has an interview with us with Gesture.
Mitch and Matt, thank you very much. What is up, everybody? Danny Lim is back for another post-match interview with our player of the match. Everybody make some noise for Gesture from Seoul Dynasty. 제수 선수, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
First of all, congratulations on your big win. Now let's just dive right into the interview because I want you to get some breather before your next match. 일단 곧바로 인터뷰를 시작할게요. 좀 쉬고 빨리 또 다음 경기를 준비해야 될 거 제가 알기 때문에 곧바로 시작을 하겠습니다. So I know this matchup had a lot at stake. Definitely the losing team, it was it for them. If you win, you do have another chance to go up the ladder. What was Seoul Dynasty and Gesture for you specifically? What was your mentality coming into the match, and were you nervous at all? 이번 경기가 제가 봤을 때 굉장히 좀 중요한 경기지 않았나 싶어요. 아무래도 이번 경기에서 지게 된 패배를 했을 경우에는 이제 다 모든 게 끝나기 때문에 제스처 선수와 또 서울 다이너스티는 좀 이번 경기에 임할 때 좀 어떤 생각으로 경기에 임하셨는지, 또 그리고 좀 긴장이나 좀 이런 거는 안 느끼셨는지.
긴장도 약간은 있었고, 그리고 이제 근데 저희는 이제 3, 4등에서 멈추고 싶지 않고 이제 상하이나 쇼크랑 해야 될 걸 대비를 했어야 되기 때문에 조금 약간 기본기로 잘 이겨보자 이런 생각하면서 긴장의 끈만 놓지 않았던 것 같습니다.
Right. I definitely did feel a little bit nervous, but we know for me and for our team Seoul Dynasty, we knew that we didn't want to stop here. Stop at 3rd or 4th place, and we definitely did prep, and we were prepping for going up against Shanghai Dragons and also San Francisco Shock. So with that mentality, to sort of have that nervousness and that excitement and to just carry on for our next matches, that was our mentality going into today's match. Okay, and also another question is for your match today against the Philadelphia Fusion, I know you had to face off against your former teammate Fury, specifically, whom you guys won the Grand Finals in 2018 with London Spitfire. How was it like going up against Fury? And also, did you guys talk at all before the matchup? 이번 아무래도 경기에 좀 제가 봤을 때 좀 되게 재밌었던 게 예전 팀메이트였던 아무래도 퓨리 선수가 필라델피아 퓨전에 있었는데 제수 선수 혹시 뭐 경기 전에 퓨리 선수와 좀 말씀, 뭐 얘기나 뭐 문자나 이런 거를 하셨나요? 또 아니면은 또 이번에 또 퓨리 선수 상대하면서 좀 소감이 어떠셨는지?
뭐 아무래도 뭐 그렇게 크게 막 경기 전에 뭔가를 하진 않았고요. 서로 그냥 재밌게 했습니다. 뭐 네.
재밌게 했습니다. What is that? Okay. All right. So, yeah, we really didn't talk much. We just, I think, just during the match, we just sort of try to have the most fun as we could possibly have. And I think it really showed. I think you were having a lot of fun, definitely. All right. For the last question, now in a few minutes, you guys are going up against Shanghai Dragons, whom you guys have fought a lot of times throughout the season and even the playoffs. And unfortunately, you guys fell short during your matchups against Shanghai Dragons. So for your next matchup with the Shanghai Dragons, what are you guys going to do in order for your Seoul Dynasty to secure the win this time around? 다음 경기는 또 이번에 또 상하이 드래곤즈와 또 다시 만나게 되는데 뭐 5월 달에도 그랬고 5월에 메이멜레이 파이널 때도 그랬고 또 어떻게 보면은 이번 이제 그랜드파이널 들어오기 전부터 좀 계속 어떻게 보면 좀 안타깝게 패배한 경험이 서울 다이너스티가 있는데 상하이 드래곤즈한테 이번에는 확실히 상하이 드래곤즈를 이기기 위해서 좀 어떻게 하실 생각이신가요?
뭐 어떻게 한다기보다는 뭐 저희는 뭐 그래도 나름대로 최선을 다해서 연습을 해서 준비를 했다고 생각을 하고 뭐 저희가 최대한 지금 경기 들어가기 전에도 짧게라도 회의를 해서 뭔가를 더 챙기고 그리고 상대가 잘하는 팀이라는 걸 인정하고 있고요. 그래서 방심 없이 최대한 저희의 최선을 다해서 벽을 넘을 수 있도록 해보겠습니다.
Alright, short answer, yes, I think we're just going to try our best. Trying our teams, giving our 100% is definitely, I think, the best strategy for us. We did prep a lot, and also after this interview or after this match, we do have a little bit of time, so we're going to go in and try to pull everything that we can in order to benefit and in order to win the matchup against Shanghai Dragons. And we do know that Shanghai Dragons are a good team, so we're gonna keep our mentality up and do our best for our match against Shanghai Dragons. Alright, Gesture, thank you so much. That is it for the post-match interview. 제수 선수 너무나도 감사드리고요. 다음 경기 화이팅 하시고 everybody, after the break, Shanghai Dragons, Seoul Dynasty coming right up. See you soon.
Thank you.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Spawn Room. I'm Golden Boy, and it's time to play Name That Map. As you know, don't just name it as fast as you can. See what I mean here in a second. Let's name that map. Ooh, clear blue skies. I like that. Ah, nice, serene water. I think I know what this is. That's right, folks. It's Ilios. Congrats to everybody that got it right. So much more to come from the Spawn Room and more from the Overwatch League 2020 Grand Finals coming right up.